Hello, my name is Sophia George, and this is my movie analysis of Never Have I Ever. Throughout this scene, numerous displays of interpersonal communication occur. For example, Davy and Ben engage in deep conversation invoking salience. In Communication in the Real World, an introduction to communication studies, salience is defined as the degree to which something attracts our attention in a particular context. As Ben and Davy dive deeper into the conversation, both confess secrets and more confessions are taking place throughout the scene. For example, Ben reveals he's feeling unwanted and lonely, and Davy reveals that she never had that type of relationship that she was telling everybody that she had with Paxton. And this caught the other's attention. Ben never expected Davy to lie about something so serious, and Davy never expected the perfect Ben, to feel lonely or unwanted or feel those feelings. So it really caught the other's attention. Self-reflection is defined as the act of regularly putting in the effort to understand and realize why and how you feel or do the things that you do. This is seen as Ben reflects throughout the scene to Davy. He feels and recognizes that he is feeling lonely, and that this is like he's reflecting on his life, personal life. And this self-reflection that he did with Davy allowed them to understand each other, but also helped ease his burden and her burden. You language is words or phrases used which lead people to become defensive and feel attacked, which could be divisive and result in feelings of interpersonal separation as described in the textbook. In this scene, Davy asks, "Why did you cry in my mom's office? Was it just about that giant herpy on your face?" And that is seen in the Ben, the loneliest boy in the world, in Never Have I Ever. She uses you language by pushing out inferences of her own to understand or to maybe get a reason as to why Ben was crying. And she did in a jokingly accusing manner, but he didn't feel attacked. He rather felt seen and felt the opportunity to be vulnerable and admit how he felt. In this scene, euphemisms are also used, which are less evocative synonyms for or indirect references to words or ideas that are deemed inappropriate to discuss directly. Davy uses the phrase hooking up, which is a synonym for a more inappropriate term that you wouldn't say in public, or in this case, in her conversation with Ben, because it's a little more provocative. So she uses hooking up as a placeholder. There's social swearing scattered all over this scene, and social swearing is swearing to create bonds or for impression management, to seem cool or attractive. And Davy and Ben use it towards the beginning of the scene more specifically. It was never in an aggressive manner though. It was a way to emphasize their feelings about a situation, the situation that they're discussing, and their feelings about that situation. Inferences are conclusions based on thoughts or speculations, but not direct observation, as described in the textbook. Heading back to Davy's inference about why Ben was crying at his mom's office, she assumed that it was because of the pimple on his face. But we don't know that, and she doesn't directly know that until he explains why he's feeling sad. She just made that assumption because her mom is a dermatologist and Ben had the pimple on his face. It was an indirect observation. So it was not a close conclusion, it was not a direct observation, but rather just an inference. Ben and Davy go from a social zone, which is defined as 4 to 12 feet away from the body. It is typically in the context of a professional or casual interaction, but not intimate or public. And they go from a social zone to a personal zone, and that is the space that starts at our physical body and extends to 4 feet. In this scene, they use that. Halfway through the scene, it is seen as Ben moves away from the counter and meets Davy halfway, and they are in the middle and they're talking to each other, and it is seen because their conversation gets deeper, their interaction gets more sincere. So the personal zone, the zone goes from a social zone to a personal zone, and it only increases the sincerity as he gets more closer. Facial expressions are defined as the movements of the face that help convey emotions or demonstrate enthusiasm during a speech. Ben often frowned or looked confused when he was expressing his feelings of loneliness, or his confusion when he was confused about what Davy was talking about when she was telling his lie, and Davy looked more guilty or had faces of acknowledgement when she was admitting her lies to Ben. And it also brought them closer deep in the conversation. In the same ballpark as facial expressions, eye contact is used and defined as an element of nonverbal delivery that helps establish credibility and holds an audience's attention. As Davy and Ben get closer and the conversation gets more sincere, so does their eye contact. Their eye contact deepens, it remains more consistent, which shows that level of closeness that is being built or being displayed more. Self-disclosure is purposeful disclosure of personal information to another person, and this is seen as Davy only reveals her lies to Ben when she feels that level of comfort. She only reveals it when that foundational level of trust is built. Before, she never revealed anything, but she started to reveal it when they started getting closer, when the conversation was getting deeper and she felt she could trust Ben more and they were understanding each other. Figurative language is also used. We can see a metaphor is being used, which is an implicit comparison of two things that are not alike and or are not typically associated. Ben uses a basketball terminology to express the metaphor, and it helps to express how he feels in his personal life. And he says, sometimes I feel like I'm an NBA player, but no matter how many points I score, my dad always ignores me and my girlfriend only likes me for my money. He is able to express how he feels using stuff he enjoys in his personal life, and also helps Davy understand how he is feeling. Empathetic listening is seen throughout the conversation and is defined as the most challenging form of listening, which occurs when we try to understand or experience what a speaker is thinking or feeling. Ben and Davy comfort each other throughout the scene by admitting their own secrets to kind of override the other secret to make them feel better. So Ben will reveal something more embarrassing than Davy to make Davy feel better, or Davy will do the same thing. And it helps them understand each other, but also builds that connection more. It builds their relationship and helps them to trust each other. A low context communication style is one in which of the meaning generated within an interaction comes from a verbal communication used rather than non-verbal or contextual cues. And this is seen throughout the scene as Ben and Davy use verbal words rather than like facial expressions or whatever to discuss their feelings. But also high context communication style is used as they use eye contact, they use facial expressions, they use the hand gestures and the body movements to express how they're feeling. So both styles are being used. And lastly, active listening is the process of pairing outwardly visible positive listening behaviors with positive cognitive listening practices. This is demonstrated through Ben and Davy practicing nonverbal communication gestures such as eye contact, affirming body language, and thoughtful responses, as I discussed before, which shown that they are not only just hearing each other out, but they are fully immersed, they are fully engaged in trying to understand and emotionally support the other person. And it really truly just deepened the relationship. These are the 15 or more words that I found in this specific scene in Never Have I Ever that are relating to interpersonal communications and style.